Finally, we're here. Wednesday's here. Yay. Season 2. Yay. Episode 1. I'm going to do reviews of each individual episode. Each one, obviously, they dropped 4 last night, but I'm going to do one at a time. First episode is Here We Woe Again. Kind of an interesting play in names, but I more consider it as Nevermore's Reluctant Celebrity, Wednesday Addams. And she struggles with her being a celebrity for everything she did to save Nevermore last year, the last episodes we saw. So, hey, North Silver Age, we look at things that are sent back and, the golden age of TV and all that. And very specifically in this case, the Munsters and Addams Family back in the 60s. And Addams Family was the first one out, only by a matter of weeks, over the Munsters. And back then, when I watched it as a little kid, I actually enjoyed more the Munsters because it was more family-oriented, and I liked Herman the Munster's laugh. Loved his laugh. But as time has gone on, watching reruns, I more and more embraced Addams Family because it was more kooky. I think that's one of the things they talked about, being kooky. And so I more embraced that. I more embraced the stuff around Gomez, Morticia, Fester, the thing, the hand, that was really cool. Wednesday, and of course, Pugsley. And Wednesday and Pugsley were much, much more younger. So, hey, this episode, I like the episode a lot. Do I think it was stellar at this point in time? No. But I think it does a decent job of picking up from last year. It also gives us a decent view into the Marcade thought process Wednesday has. And so I give this a bronze. I teetered to give it a little bit lower to 10. And as most of you guys know, my highest level is platinum, and going down to platinum, gold, silver, bronze, tin, and lead, nothing. So I think, it's good. This episode good, picks up well, and starts laying the groundwork for this full season, which I think is 8 episodes, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. But I know we got 4 just dropped now. So I'm going to take individual look at each individual episode. This episode, like I said, I'll call this Nevermore's Reluctant Celebrity Wednesday. It starts giving us a little bit more insight into Wednesday. It shows us, what kind of drives her, what excites her. It gives a snapshot of before she was over at Nevermore. In the classroom, talking about how the serial killer was the one she was heavily interested in. And after her first year at Nevermore, that's when she decided to go after this serial killer. And we saw this for 5-7 minutes. We saw a little bit about that, and we saw her dark side, but we also saw that she has a justice side to her too. She didn't kill this serial killer, but she could have. And then she did take the doll that was one of the dolls with her and gave that to her roommate. So, there it goes. And then, of course, we start this episode with the entire family in the limo coming over. I will state this. At this moment, I have not grown in love with Gomez yet. I like the one from the 60s. It's a little bit more taller and seems to be more intelligent, more Spanish-oriented. I guess this Gomez is Spanish-oriented, but it doesn't play well. Morticia, I love Morticia. Catherine Lee Jones does a great job in here. And Jenna Ortega, yes, awesome. Love her as Wednesday. Pugsley, I don't know. I liked him a little bit better last season, but maybe he'll grow on me. Last season, he was being picked on by even his fellow classmates, and not in Nevermore when he was elsewhere. and Wednesday protected him, but Wednesday wanted to be the only person that picked on him. So I get that. Lurch doesn't map to the Lurch that I grew up with. You rang thing. I can't say the voice deep enough. But anyway, this picks up. She comes back. Everyone applauds her, loves her. We see we see her in her dorm room, all that kind of stuff. We actually see Pugsley is now going to Nevermore as well. We see him go to a dorm as well, and getting talked about, sees meetings, roommates, blah, 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 and stuff like that. So then we saw, a little bit of this. We saw her interactions. And then, of course, the new principal, can't think of his first name, but his last name is Torch. He's trying to recruit Morticia to be a fundraising person and to live on campus. And of course, Wednesday doesn't like that because she wants to be the one on campus, but she wants to be the one that's feared on campus, and she doesn't want her mother around. And of course, she's hiding from her mother. She's got these black tears that have been coming out and knocking her out. So she's hiding that, and that kind of, I think, is going to play throughout the rest of the season. So, we see her interacting with her classmates, stuff like that. Saying, wishing she was back to her feared status, not being the celebrity status. So she struggles with that. And so we just go through gyrations and that kind of stuff, and then get an introduction to a couple new teachers, characters, a couple things like that, get a little bit more idea of the principal. And then we go through a couple things. She's got this manuscript she's trying to write and got turned down by people. And like a lot of young people, they don't think about making a backup copy of this, but there's some sort of villain that's still on campus from before that wants to get her, and leaves some notes and send a crossbow to try to scare her. Of course, nothing's going to scare her. And the only thing that scared her was this guy stealing the manuscript and putting this into a big bonfire that they were going to do outside a little bit later. And that bonfire thing that happens a little bit later, kind of important because, it had on top of it, I think it was a crow, but it looked more like a phoenix. And everything was lit, and the thing flew up and flied away, and that was kind of cool. But she was in the bonfire trying to get her manuscript out before the fire started. And the principal, Torch, has got the ability to throw fire. So he started this thing, and one thing led to another. But anyway, he settles it. She gets out of there. She's coming up, and this principal invites her up to the stage to talk to everybody. And because she is a celebrity and she wants to honor her, and she doesn't want to be honored. And he unveils this painting that's got the ugliest picture of her on it. And she doesn't like it. She gets upset. And her mom's in the audience, her dad's in the audience, and they can see she's not happy. And Pugsley's in the audience too, and see they're not happy. And she burns the thing and goes through this tirade speech. And, she goes, basically, it's like, I like pushing people. If you follow me, you may go off the cliff, things like that. Then this gets done, and then Pugsley was told a tale by his roommate, or the RA, the resident assistant, about this guy that was brilliant, that was dying, had to build his own mechanical heart, and was so smart that basically his project went bad and killed himself, shot himself out of the tower. And his body supposedly was buried in this thing called sculpture, and supposedly beating. And so he goes over there at the end of the episode, listens, hears the thing, and a crow flies out of the tree, scares him, falls down. Electricity falls out. Now, from the history of the Addams family, Pugsley does have the ability to control electricity and get electric shocks. So I think, okay, that's a nice little thing that no one else knew. So that's cool. And he's also very inventive. And so this thing comes out, and, first you're going, no, don't tell me he's not fearful. But then he just gets this mischievous look in his face, and that's where the scene ends. I think this is going to be kind of cool. We will look at the future episode 2, 3, and 4 later this week. I'm going to probably put a Star Trek thing out before episode 2. I'll hear your comments. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We're young and growing. Thank you. Bye.